What's up?
All right, it is the moment we've all been waiting for. If you did not see my last couple thrift flip videos, then you should watch those to catch up. But we are about to make over our atrocious entryway in our apartment.
This is our tiny little mudroom right here, which is just a coat rack and, well, this used to be worse, but now we have this shoe rack.
Yeah, this used to be a much
flip.
smaller shoe rack. This is now a shoe shelf slash bench. But yeah, I've basically been making over pieces of furniture to use in this space to make it more efficient and less awful. I'll put some inspo photos on the screen of the look I'm going for, but one of the things, which is what we're about to do, is something I've never done before, but I've always wanted to try. It's peel and stick wallpaper. So I got 3 rolls of this one. It kind of looks like wood paneling to kind of mimic the look of those like built-in units in my inspo photos. So we're gonna put this on this wall, and yeah, we've never done this before, so hopefully it goes okay.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully we'll also have enough. I'm assuming we will because we measured, but yeah, so that's what we're gonna do now. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's move everything.
True.
I like those two. Alright, you need to put those feet boots away.
I know.
Ooh, look at that dirty wall.
Ew. Okay, so step 1, AJ's cleaning the wall, and then we're gonna put this on it. See, you can see it looks like wood planks. We got 3 of them. It comes in a bunch of different sizes, but based on our math and measurements, it seemed like it would just be easiest to just get 3 of this one size and just do panels, so we'll see how that goes. Have you watched people apply this before in videos? Oh, okay. I didn't do any extra research for this. I'm just basing it off of all the videos I've seen people do this in.
Okay, read the instructions too.
I did,
Yeah.
but they were pretty basic.
It was like peel and stake on the wall.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and then we also got this tool, which I tried to peel the sticker off of and it did not go well, to like smooth out the air bubbles and stuff as we're putting it on. So it should be good.
Cool.
Alright, we're gonna need a stool to
Yeah,
get
you
to
grab me a stool.
Yeah.
You don't trust me?
I'm only concerned, you've never seen anyone really do it.
Yeah.
But also, you're taller than me, so it might be easier.
Here, go
for you
there.
to-
I can just get it started and then you can go there and
Okay.
to the top.
I'm thinking, from what I've seen people do, overlap the edge a little bit and we'll trim it because like the way that things are built, sometimes it's not straight.
Okay.
So even if you line it up in the corner, it might like leave a gap down here. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
So just overlap a little bit. Same with like the top edge.
What do we do about this?
We'll cut it out. I'll get to that. But like same with the top edge, like overlap it onto the ceiling a little bit. So basically what you want to do is just like peel a little bit off the top corner to just like get it stuck in place. And then you'll peel slowly and we'll like use this to smooth it out, you know? Like as we're going down, but you don't do it all at once.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to try and make sure it's straight-ish.
I'm scared. Can you do it?
I can try.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Okay. Okay. I am slightly concerned about getting it straight. Okay. What if we cut it first? Cut it to the right length at least, because there might be extra. Here, can you grab the bottom? And then we'll roll it out and kind of measure and see how much of it we're going to need lengthwise.
Just down to the baseboard, right?
Yeah, we're not covering the baseboard.
Okay, so there
We'll
you
leave a few extra
Okay.
centimeters, you know.
Okay, gotcha. So we're at, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, is there a lot of roll left?
No.
Okay, but still, let's trim it to that. Oh gosh, be careful. It's sprinkling. I just gotta commit, right? I can't be scared.
Yeah.
Okay, can you like go on the bottom and like make sure
Straight,
it's
yeah.
straight-ish? Like just overlaps on the edge a little bit.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
This. The distance is totally wrong.
What?
It doesn't even go all the way down.
Wait, where did you cut?
I thought I cut on the right thing.
What number did you cut on?
I cut on the right thing. It said 50 centimeters. I guess the numbers repeat.
Oh my.
Alright, we'll have to connect it then.
great. I mean, it'll be behind furniture. Alright, anyway. My love. That's so silly of you. We finished the first third and it was a little bit challenging. Oh, what the? Anyway, we finished one panel. We were trimming it at the start so we wouldn't have so much excess to deal with, and then where'd it go? We accidentally trimmed it a little too short, so we had to piece them together, but this will be behind.
It was my fault.
It was AJ's fault. But this will be behind furniture, so you won't even be able to see. And when you look at it from afar, you can't tell. So we still have to like trim the edges off, but other than that, that piece is done. So now we got 2 more panels. Hopefully they'll be easier because this is our guideline. You ready?
Ready.
Yeah, how's it going? Welcome to our update video where we are finishing up the front room. We have to hang up some hooks. Then we're going to put this bookcase, which is slightly out of frame. Oh, you can see it. And then the shoe shelf, which is slightly out of frame. We're going to put them in the right spots.
Yeah, so basically after we put up the wallpaper, I trimmed most of it, but then I got lazy and was like, I'll finish this tomorrow, and it's been like a week. So I have to finish trimming the top, if you, here, till up there. There we go. There's like still some on the ceiling, and then like above the bathroom door, I want to trim that so it's like in line with the edge of the door. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then yeah, we're gonna hang up the hooks, and then we're pretty much done.
Yep. Cool. Unboxing video.
Oh, they come with screws and drywall anchors. That's nice. Oh, these are cute.
Yeah.
Oops. No, this way.
Because yeah, that way. These are the little hooks. There's 4 of them. Hopefully that's enough. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see.
fun.
Like it?
Yep.
All right. Let's go. Okay guys, it is several days past whatever the last clip is in this video, but we are almost done. Everything in the front room is done. I just have one more little like DIY that I want to do before putting the entire thing together, but it's like pretty basic. So I have these bins that we've had for a while that I want to just like repurpose and use on the bookshelf instead of having to buy new bins. They are a little bit big for the shelves, like width-wise, like this way, but they're like pretty collapsible because they're these like fabric bins. So I think if we just like pull it out, put the stuff in, and then just push it until it's like aligned with the front of the bookshelf, it'll like fold in a little on the sides, but you won't be able to tell, I think. So it should be fine, theoretically. But I didn't want to buy new bins just because of that, especially when we're not using these for anything else right now. So anyway, I want to like make over them a little bit because not that I don't like how these look, but the look that I am going for specifically in the front room based on my Pinterest boards, the bins are like baskets. They're like, well, I'll just show you. I got this like twine. This probably gives you an idea of what the bins look like. Also, I could literally just put a photo on the screen to remind you. So that's the look I'm going for. My inspo photos all have these like basket weave bins instead of ones like this. And so I want to try to emulate that if I can. I've never done anything like this before, but I feel like it should be pretty simple. So I got this roll of twine and I'm just going to cover, like basically start at the top and wrap around to cover the outside of this to make it look like it's made out of twine. My one concern is how much this is going to cover. I only need to do 2 bins, but I don't know like I have no concept of how much this is. I think it was like 100 yards or something. No, feet? Wait. See, I don't even remember. But I just like, I don't have any concept of like measurements like that. Like I have no idea if that's a lot or not. So I don't really know how much I'm going to be able to cover. At first, I wanted to just like go all the way around the entire bin. But then I was like, I might not have that much of this to be able to do that. And I didn't want to buy more of this because it was already kind of expensive for one roll. And the point of this is trying to save money. But then also now that I'm thinking about it, if we have to like fold them up a little bit to go in there, then if I did it all the way around, it would probably interfere with that anyway. So I might just do the front. I don't know if that's like so stupid, but like I don't think you'd be able to tell. But I also don't want to like just do the front and then it's like, you know, you see the ends cut off on the sides and then I realized I had plenty and could have done more because then it's like already committed, you know? So I think I'll probably just do the front just to be safe. And then we'll just go from there, I guess. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before, but I've always like had the idea to use twine to like transform a basket or something. I'm just gonna use hot glue. It's not gonna be that professional and it's not gonna be like the most permanent thing, but it doesn't need to be. Like it's strictly for aesthetics. So I think that should be fine. The twine that I got, I think it said it was like 5 millimeters. So I got one of the thicker ones so that it would hopefully give like that basket weave look and also cover more at once. I'll have all the materials and stuff linked down below if anyone's curious. But yeah, I just picked one off Amazon. First impressions, it looks good. And then while I do this, I figured I would give a bit of like a verbal update on this entire video. I feel like I showed a lot of our process, but I haven't really gotten to talk about it much. So just starting from the beginning, when I did the thrift flips, if you missed those videos, those are separate videos where I made over a shoe shelf and then the taller, more narrow bookcase that's in the corner in the entryway. I made over both of those in separate videos. So transform them from old thrifted pieces to what they are now. And my whole goal with that was to create a very light wood grade texture, as you've probably seen a million times by now in my inspo photos. So I succeeded at that on both of those. If you didn't see my second one though, I did the shoe shelf first and then I did the bookshelf after that. Ow, already burning myself. If you didn't see that second one where I did the bookshelf, I had some major issues because of my paint supply. I was running out of paint, and then when I went to buy more on Amazon, because that's where I got it from, the exact paint I had been using was conveniently sold out and not coming back anytime soon, if at all. And of course, I didn't want to put off the project, so I had to find a different type of paint. It was like a slightly different color, but pretty close. And I used that for the base coat, just in case it was like very different. Then hopefully like that as the base coat with the original colors on top, it wouldn't be too noticeable. And I feel like I didn't really update at the end of that video my thoughts on like how noticeable it was. I feel like I kind of just left it up to the viewer to interpret. But in this video, I figured I would kind of talk through it some more while I burn my fingers doing this twine. So in the end, it really was very similar. Like the bookcase and the shoe shelf, I think at least, look very similar. I think the only thing I really noticed was like in more light where you can see the colors better, the bookcase one does look just like like ever so slightly lighter, because that base color that I had to get that was different from the original was just a little bit lighter and like a little more cool toned. And then the wood grain texture that I did on top with the original colors, I was only able to do one thin coat of those original colors over the whole thing to get the wood grain texture. So I wasn't able to like go over it multiple times and really like get the colors down. So I think because of that, like the lighter beige underneath just barely shows through in bright lighting. But the entryway area is never bright lighting. And also, it's like, I think you would only notice that if you looked extremely closely and knew that I did not use the exact same colors. Overall, I think it turned out pretty good, and I think no one is really gonna know. Thank God, because that was a big stressor for me during all of this. And then in terms of the wallpaper, because that's how this video started, I believe, was us putting up the peel and stick wallpaper. That was the first time either of us have ever done that before. And I've always wanted to, because I think it's just such a cool way to, usually affordably, depending on where you get it from, and renter-friendly makeover your space. It can make a really big difference in a space without being too permanent and expensive. So this was our first time ever trying it, and I'm really glad that we tried it for the first time where we did, because it was a small area. So it being the first time and not having to do an entire wall, which sounds really overwhelming, was a good experience. I feel like the very first strip that we put up was a little bit difficult because we were kind of getting the hang of like how to position it in true Rachel fashion. I did not like look up tutorials ahead of time. I just went based off the knowledge that I trust that I have from my years of watching DIY and home makeover videos where they put up the wallpaper. So I didn't actually like look up any tutorials to prepare. I was just like, I know how to do it. And also, of course, read the instructions, which were very vague and basic and what you would expect the instructions for peel and stick wallpaper to say. Because of that, I guess I can't really say like if I was actually doing it correctly or not. I think I was, based on what I've seen in the past, but I don't actually know because I didn't look it up ahead of time. True Rachel fashion. And I say all of that because the very first strip that we put up was in like the top left corner. And we had a little bit of trouble at first positioning it so that it was like a little bit overlapping on the ceiling and a little bit on that left corner, like onto the other wall. We did it like that because I'm pretty sure I've seen other people do it like that before, because the way that the paper is cut, the way that this apartment is built, everything isn't necessarily a perfectly straight line, or like that corner is not necessarily perfectly 90 degrees from the floor, you know, or from the ceiling. So if you try to line it up with the ceiling line or the left corner line, it will likely like lead to a little bit of a gap at the bottom or whatever the case is, because it's just like not perfectly straight. So I didn't want that to happen. So that's why we did it the way we did. We tried to make sure that the wallpaper was overlapping the ceiling a little bit and the other wall. And then we would just trim it perfectly straight at the end, because then we could control where that line is. Y'all, this is going to take so much longer than I thought. And so it was a little bit difficult to get the paper lined up where we wanted it to start, just because like the paper folding over the edges where we were going to trim it later, it was just like hard to get it to like just like do, like it was hard to manipulate it to do what we wanted it to do when it was like being folded over edges and stuff. And it was just a little bit challenging, but we ended up getting it. And I don't regret doing it that way at all, because we were able to cut the line exactly where we wanted it at the end and not have to worry about imperfect construction causing wonky lines in our wallpaper. All right, 2 rows done. You get the idea now? If it was confusing how I was explaining it, you're probably getting it now. So yeah, that was a little bit challenging to start, but then once we got it started, it was pretty good. Used the little squeegee thing I showed to get the air bubbles out, and that worked really well. I think air bubbles are like almost inevitable unless you're like a professional, I feel like, because it's just like, as we were putting it down, I was like, wow, we're getting all the air bubbles. We're doing so good. And then I swear it's just like the longer it sits there, suddenly there's air bubbles again. So there are a few, but like they're very small. They're not super noticeable. Like we did do a good job overall, I think, getting them out. I just feel like little ones are just like inevitable to pop up here and there, but like it's not noticeable unless you're looking for them, you know? But just a note on that for anybody watching who maybe is doing this for the first time as well, the air bubbles, you can kind of like get them out by cutting a very small slit in the wallpaper for the air to escape from and then like pushing it together, if that makes sense. We didn't do that for all the air bubbles because I think it's just not worth it. But if there's like a really noticeable one and like you can't really fix it by like peeling the wallpaper up because you've just gone too far or whatever, then you might be able to fix it that way. We did that with one area. It wasn't just an air bubble. It was also like just sloppy where we accidentally messed up. And what happened, which this is also a tip if you are also going to be doing this for the first time, the wallpaper, at least the one we got, I'm sure it depends on the quality and stuff and where you get it from, but the wallpaper that we got, it would stretch if you like use the squeegee on it like too low to the plastic, because you peel a little bit of the plastic off at the back at a time and squeegee it on to make sure it's like sticking nicely and you're not getting air bubbles and it's like all aligned properly. But like there were a couple times where I accidentally like went pretty much all the way down to the plastic, and that action like kind of stretched out some of the wallpaper in that section. So then when we put on the wall, it was like a little wrinkly and like not sticking quite right. And so we used that trick for those areas. Well, I say plural, but it was only one area that happened and it worked really well. So, I mean, it's still a little bit noticeable if you look close, but it worked really well to cover up because it was way noticeable before that. That's a little tip. I mean, maybe just don't go so far down to the plastic to begin with, but if you accidentally do and it gets stretched out, you might be able to salvage it with a little X-Acto knife and some pinching and manipulating. And then the final thing that we struggled with a little bit was like lining up the panels to the other panels that were already on the wall, because again, like everything isn't necessarily cut perfectly straight. And also as a human, it's hard to like make everything go perfectly straight. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes to make sure that like where we're starting to place the wallpaper at the top is gonna lead to it fully covering the wall at the bottom and not like veering off to the right and like leaving a gap between the two panels by the end of it. It's really hard to get it perfect. We had to like start it and then peel it up a couple times to like realign it. But we got it pretty good and it wasn't too bad. And I think that's also something that you probably would get better at the more that you do it. Like again, this was our first time doing it. So I feel like someone who's done it many times probably doesn't really have that issue as much. It's something that's like definitely very beginner friendly, but I also think like people have done it a million times can probably do it a lot better. The beginner look is not bad. Like it still looks good. All right, I've got 4 rows now. This is gonna take so long. I didn't realize how long this was gonna take. I thought it was maybe quick. I don't know if there's a way I can be doing it faster. I don't feel like there's not. Ow, oh my God. Does anyone else burn themselves like countless times every time they use a hot glue gun? No matter how much experience they have with the hot glue gun, I feel like it's just impossible not to. Because you gotta like press stuff down into the hot glue so it sticks. And then of course it's gonna leak through. No pain, no gain. Overall, we're very happy with how the front room has turned out. I think it has pretty much followed my vision from the start. And it is so much more efficient now, and like the use of the space is just so much better now. It was so bad before. We just have like so much more space to store everything, because all we really had before were hooks like on the coat rack, you know, and then like other than that, the hooks on the coat rack and the shoe shelf. And so the shoe shelf, all you can store there are shoes. And then the coat rack, everything has to be hung on one of the little hooks. So it's like some of the stuff that we want to store, like wipes to wipe off Suki's paws when she comes inside, or her muzzle and her jacket and all her gear, like that stuff doesn't store very easily on a coat rack. So it was just like not efficient for everything we wanted to keep by the front door, because all that stuff is so convenient to have by the front door. But now we have the bookshelf with the bins, so we can put stuff in the bins to store them there instead, and then the hooks on the wall for coats and everything, and then the shoe shelf. So I think it's already been like so much less cluttered and like in the way. Like we can actually walk into our house without like catching jackets falling off the coat rack now. So I think we're gonna love having put in the work to get it to where it is now. The only thing it's really missing that I was really gonna do, but I just like got lazy and haven't, is a cushion on the bench. I mentioned this when I was making the shoe shelf in the very first video that I put out in this little mini makeover series. I mentioned that I was gonna get a cushion by the time I made over the whole entryway, but I just didn't have one in that video yet. And I have looked a lot on Amazon because I don't want to spend that much money. That's the whole point of this project, is to not spend a ton of money. I've looked on Amazon for cheap cushions that I could put on the bench to sit on it, because the shoe shelf is also meant to be a bench so you can like sit down and put your shoes on. And I wanted to get just like a basic white cushion, but I couldn't find any that were like not expensive. They have a bunch of options to make like custom sized ones on Amazon, which if you're trying to do it the right way, that would be the way to go, because this thing is a very custom size. But obviously I didn't want to spend the money to make a custom cushion. I was fine with it not fitting perfectly as long as it like fit good enough and got the job done. But I just could not find anything besides those custom ones. And again, don't want a custom one because I'm not trying to spend that much money on this. So currently no cushion there. I don't know when or if there will ever be one, because they're just like more expensive than they need to be. And I don't want a cushion that badly. Like the cushion is really just for aesthetics, because it's not like you sit there that long to put on your shoes that you need a cushion for your butt. It's really just for aesthetics. Again, it's functional without it. It's cheaper without it. So for now, there is no cushion, but that is something I may consider adding in the future. If I find a good deal somewhere, maybe, but we'll see. Okay, I found a method that's allowing me to move quite a bit quicker. For now, I'm just gonna be doing the front, gluing it down to the front, and then I'll fix all the ends once the front's done. I think that's the quickest way to go about it. Although now that I'm at this little circle, I think I'm gonna have to do like half pieces on each side and fold into the circle just to like keep that shape. But yeah, it's looking good. Or should I make it like a rectangle? Maybe. Anyway, I think those are all the updates I had for you. So I'm going to keep working on this, and hopefully it starts going faster than it has been, because I have a lot more to do today besides just making these bins. So pray for me. No, why are you stretching on that shelf? What are you doing? Oh my goodness, you're crazy. Thank you. No, we're not going right now. I'm just reorganizing all your stuff. This project has been a journey and weeks longer than I intended it to be, but we're finally done. If you came here for some like HGTV fixer-upper style before and after huge grand reveal with beautiful shots, you came to the wrong place. I like to think that my videos are just a little bit more casual than that. So here's a couple before shots that are not the prettiest because it really wasn't pretty. And here's the after. I think in reality, this space will be kind of constantly evolving evolving, especially because we were doing this on a budget. So there are things that I would like to maybe do in the future that I just didn't do this time around because of the budget. For example, the cushion, like I mentioned earlier. We were also kind of in a time crunch because we have guests coming into town literally 2 days from the day that I'm editing this video. And I literally did the bin earlier today, the day that I'm editing this. So quite a time crunch along with the budget. I didn't get around to finishing the second bin, doing the twine on it, and I don't know if I'll even have enough to do that to begin with. I think I might have to order another roll on Amazon eventually, but I decided not to prioritize doing that right now because I have higher priority things to get done. So naturally this space will continue to evolve over time, but I do plan to finish that second bin for sure because I want the bottom 2 shelves to have 2 bins. It'll just make it look a little bit neater, but for now this is the finished product. I grabbed a couple bowls and baskets that I had laying around that I actually got for free off of one of those Facebook Buy Nothing groups. So if you notice that the gold one on the very top of the bookshelf is pretty tarnished and messed up, that's why. It was free. Sometime soon I would like to just like give it a fresh coat of paint, but I do like the gold look and I don't have a gold paint, so that's why I haven't really done anything with it yet. I don't really want to paint it like a solid matte color. I kind of like the gold shine, so I think I'll probably look for some gold metallic paint or spray paint or something so I can touch it up in the future, but for now it's a little beat up. But I just put it on top of the bookcase to hold kind of just like miscellaneous things that you quickly pick up on your way out or throw down when you first get home that usually ends up not having a spot and just like clutters the kitchen counter. So sunglasses, wallet, keys for some people, but we have hooks for keys, so that's usually not an issue, but I feel like wallets and sunglasses and stuff like that just kind of get like thrown on the kitchen counter when we get home. So I'm hoping this little bowl can become like a catch-all for that stuff instead of it making its way further into the house and making a mess. And then the rest of the shelves just have things that are convenient to have by the front door, like the wipes that we wipe Suki's feet off with when we come back inside from a walk. Not that this is necessary, but I would like to get a pretty bin to put those wipes in eventually because they're just not cute on that top shelf, but it is convenient to have them there. So yeah, that's the big reveal. This is probably the most DIYing and improvising I've ever done on a home project like this, but I've always wanted to do stuff like this. I just never really had the space to do it. So I'm really excited to see what other projects I can come up with in the future and just see like how I get better and better at these types of things as time goes on and as I get to do more of them. So definitely subscribe and stay tuned for future videos where I do more stuff like this around the apartment because I have many ideas in my head. I just gotta make them happen. And I'll see you in the next one. Hey!
Hello! Wait, well, how did you record it?
I was getting B-roll of the entryway.
No way. That's so random.
Isn't it so nice? You love it, right?
My pull-up bar's here, right?
Oh, no, not yet. It said by 9.
Oh my god.
What?
What the heck did you... Okay.
What?
Never mind. Never mind.
Show how you use our fancy entryway.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Are you excited to see me? I'm sorry, I didn't greet you properly.
Oh, the wiggle. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah. Hey, get up.
Oh, Suki. Welcome home.
Thank you.